My name is Bob Sanger. I'm 78 years old, and I'm currently residing at Freedom Village, 653. I was born and raised in Howland, and my wife and I lived on the north side of Howland for 45 years in the same house. Well, since I was born and raised in Howland, I had been, in the area when they were building the facility, and it was always had a reputation for being the best place to live for retirement. So when my wife passed away earlier this year, I knew this was where I wanted to come. I worked in retail all my life. My last job was at Barnes & Noble. I worked there for 14 years before retiring. And my wife had a variety of jobs, but her last position, she got her master's degree and she taught middle school for 25 years. My wife and I did not have any children, but I have 3 brothers and sisters still living, 2 in the area and 1 near Detroit. And I have several nieces and nephews all in the area, and a sister-in-law that lives in Howland that I see on a regular basis. My favorite hobby is coin collecting. I'm an avid coin collector. I have what I feel is a substantial collection of U.S. and world coins, and also some world and U.S. currency. Other than that, I enjoy watching certain TV programs. I'm kind of hooked on the Curse of Oak Island, and that's starting a new season this year. Whether they will ever find the treasure, I don't know, but I've been watching 11 years, so I can't quit now. Currently, I use the swimming pool every day. I have a kind of an arthritic knee, so the water walking is very beneficial. It's good for my knee, so I spend 45 minutes in the pool. I try to use it 7 days a week. Other than that, of course, I enjoy the dining facility. No, I guess that's about it at the moment, but I am looking forward to finding other areas of interest.
My name is Jo Kimberlin, and I've been here approximately 11 months, 431. Well, many places, but Michigan and Detroit and Rock Hill and Frankenmuth, all in Michigan. Born and raised in Iowa. Dan, my husband, has passed, but we met in college, Iowa State University. And then, of course, ended up in the auto industry in Michigan. Dan had passed by that time, and we have one son living in this area, and the other son, of course, is down in Detroit, Michigan, and so I wanted to be by one of the boys, and so we chose this location. Well, we had the 2 boys. They were both in the auto industry, and if there's another industry in Michigan. I worked after the boys got into school by 3rd grade at a florist, and then Frankenmuth insurance company I transferred to in there when the boys didn't need me at home. I love to draw. I like art. I like to be outside, and I enjoy walks. And so my son we just been walking all morning, and it's just a nice time to be outside, and you can visit, and the scenery keeps changing all the time. No, I'm not ready for that yet. I'm assuming I will get involved in something, but it's just so wonderful to be in a safe place. I feel very secure here, and I'm not shy. Like if I go down for lunch by myself, I just pick another lady or a couple and ask to sit with them. So I chitty chat a lot.
Well, I'm John Jonker, and I live at Freedom Village. Oh, 433.
Elaine Jonker. And I'm in the same apartment.
I'm from Holland. Elaine is from Traverse City. We met in Chicago. We lived in Chicago for a number of years. Moved to Memphis for about 9 years. Then back to Holland in 84. And we stayed in Holland until 2005, at which point we bought a little RV, sold a house, and believe it or not, began our first RV trip. And that lasted 11 years. And then we worked about 7 seasons in the grocery store on the south rim of the Grand Canyon.
Because
we like the Grand Canyon, and we walk a lot. We've walked all over the Grand Canyon. We also spent time, about 9 years total, about 10 or 12 years total, at Big Bend National Park. That's the dip to the west end of Texas. And there we spent, I think, 7 seasons volunteering to help out the river rangers.
about 7 months a year.
And
then we went to the Grand Canyon to work.
So. We've probably canoed a total of 2,000 to 3,000 miles on the Rio Grande River through the canyons there, assisted with shuttles, setting up research trips with all their food and water, accompanying many of the research trips through the canyon.
Well, we were responsible for taking care of all their gear and keeping everything up and we were responsible for doing all shuttles, which covered, a couple hundred miles out in the desert.
And then we spent about 7 seasons working the visitor center in the Chisos Mountains in that park. That's in an elevation of about 5,000 feet. It's a beautiful place to spend the winter. It gets cold, almost like Michigan winters up there at 5,000 feet. And there we did a lot of hiking.
Because where we were, was down, and the mountains went higher all around us. So
yeah, Big Bend, within a distance of about 15 miles, the elevation goes from about 1,800 feet on the Rio Grande up to 7,800 feet. So it is an absolutely amazing place. If you walk past the door to our apartment, you'll see an old wooden sign. It says, Windows Trail 2.5 miles, campground 1/2 mile. And that was located right next to the visitor center. When they refurbished that sign, we got the old one. And that's now hanging on our apartment door. So that's wonderful.
And so we worked until this past February.
Oh, yep, you're forgetting the important one.
What?
Volunteered many seasons at Sleeping Bear National Lakeshore.
Okay.
There's
over 10 seasons.
Over 10 seasons, and they've got an old ghost town there called Glen Haven, and they've got museums, and we take turns being docents at the museums, like 4 days a week. And one of the museums was an old blacksmith shop. And so I'd stand up and give demonstrations of blacksmithing. A lot of fun. They also had an old boat museum, and then one of the best example of the old life-saving stations in the country. Just unbelievably beautiful place.
Anyway, we kind of went the last few years back and forth, and then we'd be in our little apartment here for a couple months. We'd always go overseas during the year, and we'd always go wilderness canoeing up in Canada. So we were just going continuously until this past February. And here we are.
We're probably the only people here who've moved from an RV to this place.
It's like living in a mansion.
Number of jobs. We finished up for the last 16 years. I worked at County of Kent. I was system administrator, system programmer, keeping the mainframe running. As time changed, you go over to the Unix world, and I wound up being an Oracle database administrator on the Unix boxes.
Well, you know, we all had over 40-year careers, but the last 20 years of our career before we retired, I was at Hayworth, and he was in the data processing, and I was in the systems area. So
we have one daughter, no grandchildren. She lives in Austin. Well, it's not a hobby I can continue here, but it was part of the reason we got an apartment. We had 2 bedrooms. I had the second bedroom set up as a little shop. Back in the 60s, I started whitewater kayaking, and you couldn't afford kayaks at that point, especially somebody my size. They broke too easily.
Well, they didn't have the plastic ones either.
And I happened to be working as a chemist for Armor Industrial Chemicals, so I understood amines, and that's half. If you understand how amines work, that's half of understanding how epoxies work. So I started making really sophisticated laminated kayaks.
And we canoed all over the country for years and years.
And then in the 80s, I decided that's a fun hobby. Other people do woodworking, that sort of stuff. I started making canoe paddles, kayak paddles.
So you know the Colorado River, the big rapids? He's kayaked it 8 times since the early 70s, and I was on a raft on 15-day trips, so we just love the Grand Canyon. The best place in the world.
So I'm kind of odd. Other people do woodworking. I picked sophisticated epoxy, carbon fiber, Kevlar, glass laminates. I make the lightest, strongest canoe paddles you can get. No, I've given that up. That we had to give up when we gave up that spare bedroom. So now,
it's all part of being here.
So now I'm working on the theory of how they work. Location, location, location. We've been all over the country. The Holland area has got basically within a 20-mile radius more wonderful day hikes, particularly hilly day hikes. You've got the dunes. It's like you've got this combination of a reasonable sized town with access to good hiking trails. In Freedom Village, I really like the fact that there's 290 apartments here. It's a lot of people. And for trails, we're on the Macataw Walkway. It's our border. It's a gorgeous walk out to Windmill Island. It's a gorgeous walk out to River Avenue. We're only 3 blocks from downtown, 4 blocks from Hope College. This is a wonderful place to stay active. We've got a lot of people doing their 5,000 steps a day here behind a walker. When that time comes, it'll be great. But for now, it's a great place for people who are physically slowed down. It's a great place for people who are not physically slowed down. So it's a great place for physical activity, mental activities. It's a wonderful location. Staying mentally and physically fit.
That's our goal. And we are healthier here than we were the last few years. So it's amazing.
The health has gotten a lot better. The meals they serve here are unbelievable. You know, one of the questions they ask at the doctor's office, do you get your 5 servings of fruits and vegetable every day? Yes, we do. And that really makes a difference.
And physically, there's just all kinds of activities for mentally and physically. And you know, like the HAS program is attached, and just all these others that we've joined, you know, like the Audubon Club, the hiking club through HAS, and the programs. Like we just had class this morning at HAS. Amazing.
I was going to say, we've got 7 floors here, 6 flights of stairs. Rumor has it that the elevators are slow here.
I don't know.
I can't say if that's true or not. It's been well over a month since we've been on an elevator.